Isekai is everywhere. In the last 5 years, it's taken off the way magical girls and mecha anime did before it. Every anime season, we are guaranteed at least one. And yeah, I know it started farther back than 5 years, but it really got huge in the States after Sword Art Online. A lot of people credit SAO as one of the titles responsible for popularizing anime in the West, along with Attack on Titan. Everything gets old when done to death, but let's not forget that it took off in the first place because it was putting out some good shit. And one of those I'm going to talk about today is Grimgar, A Fantasy in Ash. In a genre that's been saturated to hell and back with titles, it can be hard to set yourself apart. What stands out to me here as opposed to other anime like it is the amount of attention it spends on its characters. It's like a slice of life and isekai mashup. Who knew if you got some senpai notice me with a little swing and slash you'd have yourself a hit. One thing that bugs me though is much like Erased and Re:Zero, it pays almost no attention or tries to offer any explanation as to how or why they're in this other world in the first place. And they don't make any attempt or even have a conversation about trying to get back. But if they ain't tripping, I ain't tripping. I pretty much just assumed that they're in a video game because it builds a pretty relatable gaming experience. But they never come out and say that. The first few episodes of the show really emphasize what it's like to be at level 1. Not having money, buying the cheapest clothes and gear, not knowing the good hunting spots. Their approach to fighting is all sorts of fucked up and none of them can work together. In typical level 1 fashion, they spend most of their time fighting the lowest level goblins and it does not go well for them at first. But that's what makes it engaging. Everything feels earned. No knock against shows like One Punch Man or Overlord, but not knowing if all the characters are gonna make it out of a fight really kicks that tension up a few notches. Before we get into the nitty gritty, let me talk about this animation for a bit. The background is laden with a pastel watercolor kind of look that was kind of off-putting to me at first, but then I really grew to like it. It's very distinct from everything in the foreground and almost feels like it's supposed to emphasize that it's solely background. For an isekai anime, we get a surprisingly narrow focus. Most titles in the genre are about building the world the characters have been whisked away to, but not much is explored about that in Grimgar outside of the main cast's immediate focus. We know that humanity is at war with the goblins.
Okay, but why though?
Is everyone in the army? Is there a king named Grimgar?
And what is going on?
But all that is beside the point. Grimgar definitely nails what it's trying to be, a character-driven story. Even though it is character-driven, these are some of the best fights of the genre in my opinion. You don't just blast people until their health bar is empty. I know it sounds dumb to say out loud, but you have to actually kill them. No, like, kill them. Aside from the graphicness, the strategy is a lot like you'd expect from a real RPG. I don't think I've seen such a team-oriented, stuck-in-a-game anime since Log Horizon. It's important to get the strategy right, and in the beginning, they're all over the place. The mage can't quite get her spells right and sends her attacks with 0 accuracy. They're not on the same page about when to make their moves. They have the wrong player class acting as Vanguard, and their healer wastes mana on minor injuries. Their weaknesses and strengths in battle are appropriately displayed through how they balls it up the first time out. And then slowly they start rectifying that over the course of the show. I've never been much of a fan of straight up action shows just because they look cool and there's big explosions everywhere, but what makes action impactful is when there's meaning behind it. What does this conflict mean to the plot? What weight does it hold for the rest of the story? Grimgar understands this and places the battles at points throughout the story to either add to character or plot development, even if it's just about getting them a little cash or adding to their chemistry. And spending the time on that chemistry is one of the show's defining traits. If you're looking for a fast-paced, I'll know a Zero style Michael Bay anime action, then steer clear. Grimgar is a very character-driven story. While I do think a couple of them are a little archetype tropey, it mostly feels like you could put yourself in this party. There's a bunch of scenes in here with around 5 solid minutes of just conversation in one go. The most memorable to me is when the main character, Haru, is trying to work out some issues he has with one of his brash and impulsive asshole teammates. Sometimes you just gotta get some shit off your chest. And in most anime, this would be a big melodramatic ordeal with characters shouting back and forth. But both of them just had a calm conversation about where the other was coming from and actually provides insight about why they behave the way they do. It's not all perfect though. Ranta makes me want to hold his head underwater, and I don't even remember this chick's name. I wish every character could have gotten more attention, but also a 12 episode run isn't really enough to make everything you want happen on screen. They gave way just a tad from developing all these characters to focus on its themes, the biggest of which is grief. The emotional toll that comes in the wake of harrowing loss is a relatable one, and here it's dealt the respect events of such magnitude deserve. A cutaway to sad faces gathered around a tombstone is not dealing with loss. Getting revenge is not grieving. I'm kind of shocked at how underappreciated this anime is given how many things they get right. They aren't trying to develop these characters overnight, and the progress is a slow and gratifying process. As it often does, it starts with denial of that loss and is a long way to acceptance. Everyone is sad, but everyone also reacts to that sadness in a different and realistic way, be it dismissal, lashing out in anger, or reclusiveness. There's no right way to handle it. In keeping with trend, another one of the more memorable scenes comes with two of them just need to sit down sharing fun memories and then cry it all out. I watched Grimgar when it first came out in winter 2016, and I've been waiting for season 2 ever since. Sadly, I haven't heard any whispers, but I'm still hopeful because the genre doesn't show any signs of fading. This is easily in my top 3 Isekai anime, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I'm giving this a strong recommend.
I love you, but we really gotta go right now.
Fine, it was fun while it lasted.